Hey, what's up, guys? Randall from Odds Jam with you on this Sunday morning of Week 4 in the NFL. Watching the Saints Vikings game there. Not sure what, not sure what Kevin O'Connell was doing there to end the half. You've got all of those timeouts. You complete a pass to Justin Jefferson, and you don't use one. So pretty poor management there on his part. Vikings probably should have had, I mean, I don't know if they get 7 there, but should have had a chance to get 7, let the clock go down about 30 seconds, and you end up with a field goal. So pretty bad coaching there, in my opinion. But nonetheless, we're going to hop over to the EV page. We'll see what's out there. If you've got any questions, comments, you want to see something for an NFL game, you want to see a specific game, comment, let me know. We'll take a look at it. We'll see where the value's at. Happy to give my opinion on those as well. If I have one, unfortunately, most of the value in terms of NFL is usually gone on Sunday mornings. So, you need to get that early in the week. But real quick here, if you're looking to do some live betting on this London game, looks like the Saints have some value over at FanDuel, plus 154, plus 4.5, plus 3.5, plus 162, plus 5.5, plus 128. So you could lock that in, and you could place a live EV bet right now on one of these three bets. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in some live EV betting. Carson looking for PrizePicks Underdog. So yeah, we'll start out there. That's perfectly fine. So we'll jump over to the EV page. Or actually, I guess we're already there. I need to go to pre-match, and we'll take a look and we'll see what is out there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my filters off so that I can see every play that's out there. Go ahead and shift this back off and on. And let's take a look at PrizePicks. See if there is anything out there in terms of EV. So I see your question there, RW, with Carolina and Arizona. We'll talk about that game here in just a second. We'll see if there's some value. I do have an opinion on that game, and I'll mention or go into detail as to what I like there here in just a second. But Carson here to answer your question, there's quite a few plays out there. So, Patrick Corbin hits allowed. Now, again, this is the 5 flex on the PrizePicks. So you need to do 5 of these. That's where you're going to get that minus 119. But if you wanted to use Corbin under 5.5, you can see here, minus 137, average odds, minus 151. So you would still be getting some value there. Waka over 3.5 strikeouts. That looks to be good as well, depending on, 5 pick or just the regular. So that has some value also. Christian Kirk under 5.5 receptions. Not a lot of value there. That would be one you would need to put in a 5 pick to actually get the value, because you can see minus 137 fair odds, or, average odds about minus 139. So not a whole lot of value. Under a half a run in the, so no run in the first inning. Again, the only value you're going to get there is with the 5 flex. Najee Harris, we talked about this one yesterday. Definitely some value there on both. A two-leg entry, 3-leg entry. If you go 5, you get some really good value. Henry over 1.5 receptions has some value on both as well. Contreras, player hits allowed, looks to be a little bit of value on both there also. CD Lamb under 5.5 receptions, some really good value on both of those also at Underdog. Dalton Schultz under 3.5, some really good value on both of those also there for that Cowboys game. I do like Washington a lot in this spot. So, some correlation there to Lamb under and Schultz under. Not that means anything, but I do like Washington. That's actually my play of the week at plus 3.5. So Bomb under 1.5 bases. Looks like there's some value there as well. Player earned runs. not as much value with Waka there. Would be on a 5 flex. Hawkinson over 4.5 receptions. I actually really think this is a pretty solid play. Chark's out. St. Brown's out as well. So, I mean, Hawkinson probably a go-to in this spot. Pierce under 2.5. Looks to be no real value there unless you played it in the 5 flex. Judy over 3.5 receptions. Only value there on the 5 flex. Also, first inning total runs, Phillies, Nats. Little value there on the 5 flex. And Candelario over 0.5. Some value there on both. So hopefully that was helpful, Carson. When I went through all of them, you could kind of see the value there of each one. There is definitely a lot of value out there for sure with PrizePicks and Underdog this morning. Any edge on the Carolina Zona game? So yeah, this was a game I was going to talk about. Let me go ahead and clear these filters. Let's just see if there's anything out there just in terms of that game. We can search the games on the EV page. So you can type in Panthers and it will show you all of the, it'll show you all of the potential EV opportunities in that game. So if you're looking for some player props, receiving yards for Dortch over 29.5 looks to have a little bit of value. Baker Mayfield under 18.5 completions. Marquise Brown over 5.5 catches. I do like him to score a touchdown. Not sure if he gets over 5.5 catches, but there is some value there as well. In terms of, just looking at this particular game. So let's go ahead and let's just go into the event page and we'll take a look at this line, and I'll kind of give my angle here with what I'm looking at. So this line before last week was actually Arizona -3. So Arizona was -3 in this spot. They obviously lost to the Rams, which, I mean, that was expected. That was not really a surprise to me or anyone else. But Arizona was -3. This opened up Carolina -1. So that to me was somewhat of an overreaction. I mean, the Panthers beat the Saints. It wasn't like they beat them, 30-0, but they did beat them. But I don't really understand the full, 4-point move in terms of where we were at there with that game. So I think a little bit of overreaction. I mean, you can see here, bookmaker, very, very sharp book. They have it as a pick 'em. Money line, essentially the same thing, but the line's holding steady. Carolina -1 across the board. It looks like FanDuel has actually shifted it. FanDuel has Arizona -1. So, I mean, if you're looking to bet this game, I mean, if you want to take Arizona, do so on one of these other books, because there's no point to lay one with Arizona. But I would lean to Arizona in this spot. But I mean, I don't think Arizona is a good football team either. So this game's really tough. This is definitely one that, I think sharp bettors are probably going to be on Arizona just because of kind of the overreaction to the line. Again, Arizona was -3 on the look ahead, and then they opened up +1, and there were no major injuries. Nothing really changed other than Carolina won a game and Arizona lost another game. So that's kind of my opinion there. In terms of value, I mean, there's not really anything out there like to say, hey, this is a good bet based on the market. So, you would be making a negative EV bet, on either one of these if you were to do it. Jeff Thielen and Jefferson under receptions. Looks like they did have a solid first half. That's just the way it goes with this. Sometimes, the EV betting will come through. Sometimes it won't. But the idea is long-term continuing to get the best number, get the best odds. I mean, you are going to profit long-term. Definitely a long-term game there. Let's go ahead and take a look here. I've got the recommended filters on. Just look and see if we can find anything out there today. I did post a video earlier with a couple of bets that I liked. Luis Garcia looks maybe pretty good, under 5.5 strikeouts, plus 112. Average odds minus 110. This looks like a pretty good bet here. If you wanted to jump on this in the Rays Astros game, Luis Garcia under 5.5 strikeouts. This was the bet I gave out earlier. I think this is a pretty solid bet. Packers and Patriots, Damian Harris over 49.5 rushing yards, plus 108. I think we see a heavy dose of the run game today with the Patriots and the Packers. So I do like Harris there over 49.5 plus 108. If you're going to bet that on FanDuel, it would actually be, it would actually be 50 plus would be the prop that you were looking for there. So that would be another good one. Yankees Orioles under 7 runs. Looks to be a little value there. Not a whole lot. Davis Mills over 232.5 passing yards. That looks pretty good. Chargers have been suspect to say the least. I do think the Chargers can win this game today, though. Royals Guardians under 7 runs. This actually looks like a really good bet. Under 7 runs. We're getting minus 120 on MGM. Bookmakers got it minus 130. Pinnacle minus 134. I'm going to go ahead and log in here on MGM. I'm going to go ahead and place that bet on the under 7 because that is a very, very, very good bet. We've got a couple of sharp sports books that are agreeing with that. So definitely feel comfortable placing that bet there. Under 7 runs, minus 120. So go ahead and go back to sharing our screen here, and we'll lock this in, see what the Kelly calculator is saying. Saying $15 based on my bankroll. Again, I had to adjust it. I've got so many NFL plays that I hit earlier in the week. And so once those settle, we'll be back to upping our bets, but MGM is my book with the most money in it. So we'll hit that under 7. Do like that a lot. I mean, that's a really, really good bet. If you want to tail that under 7, solid bet there. Let's see here. Not seeing much else. Under 8.5 in the Orioles. I mean, a little juicy, but minus 140. Rest of the market's minus 157. We can take a look at this and see what the market has it. What's bookmaker make that? They've got it 7.5. So I was hoping maybe 7.5 be juiced to the under and we'd jump on that, but we'll pass on that play for now. So we'll hop back over to the EV page on the live side of things. We'll see if there's anything out there in this Saints game. Saints still, plus 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 5.5. Some value there on the Saints point spread. APA says, living in Arizona my whole life, Arizona is horrible and the state knows it. The team, not the state. Yeah, I mean, Arizona's definitely there was a lot of hype this year, after last year, but not the best start. I did actually have Arizona against the Raiders, so that was a nice little comeback win there, and then like the Rams the next week. But we'll see. That's an interesting. I think that Carolina-Arizona game is a very interesting game. Kind of, pros versus Joes. I don't know if you'd call it that, maybe, but don't really know where the public is. Doesn't really matter. But that game is very interesting because, like I said, Arizona was -3. Now they're +1 with little to no change in anything that's going on. So, any other questions, feel free to throw those out there, guys. We'll go ahead and take a look. We'll see if there's anything out there in terms of arbitrage where we can make some risk-free money. If you wanted to bet this first half run line, Cubs Reds, you could certainly do that and make some risk-free money. If you want to do 165.96, make a risk-free $3.64. It all adds up. If you wanted to place those bets. So going to go ahead and check out this middles page. Last Sunday, we had some really good luck on this middles page. One of them actually hit, but I'm looking here and I don't see any middles that were like last Sunday because they're involving some of these fantasy companies. But while we're looking at that, this Thrive Fantasy is one that we have just recently added. So be sure to check that out. I've got the link below in the description. It's just $100 deposit match, or up to $100 on your deposit match. And then you can use OddsJam. I mean, you can use the EV page to find profitable legs for those entries with Thrive Fantasy, and you're going to get a free $100 when you deposit with that link below. So check that out as well. I'm definitely going to get on Thrive Fantasy very, very soon. Let's see here. Bananas and Grapes, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you as well. Hopefully you have a good Sunday. Good luck on all of your bets. What is the acceptable market width on money line, player props, etc.? In terms of market width, I mean, with the recommended filters on, these are the best bets that are out there all throughout the day. So the market width is virtually irrelevant in terms of what we're showing on the recommended filters page. Now, before we introduce these, I mean, I always would, set my market width somewhere between 30 and 40. And that was just what I always looked at. But again, with the recommended filters, I mean, market width is definitely not something that is that important. And I mean, you can see here when I put that width in of 35 cents, we're seeing a lot of the same plays that are on the recommended filters. So, I mean, you'll see a few more, but I typically, with the recommended filters now, that's solely what I use. I mean, you can see some lower EV plays where you've got some lower market width, but in terms of like money line, player props, I don't pay much attention to it at all on the recommended filters page. If I turn the filters off, I mean, I put it at 35, and then I'm still looking for whatever bet I'm placing to be an outlier to all of the other books. You need one NFL player prop because you get a freebie over under on Underdog. All right, well, let's take a look. Let's see what we can find for Underdog. So if we go to just Underdog, looks like we've got, all right, so I'm assuming, you need one NFL player prop. Yeah, so looking here, I mean, hold on just a second. Let me turn off the market width. Maybe we can see more because I thought we had some Underdog there. There we go. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking to do one, I mean, looks like we've only got two that have some value. So, CeeDee Lamb under 5.5 receptions, Dalton Schultz under 3.5 receptions. I mean, if I were looking at this, I mean, the average odds, I'm assuming you're doing a 2-leg, so this 5 pick is not going to be relevant for you. Schultz under 3.5, you'd be laying 137. The average odds are -146, so about a 9-cent difference there. If you go with CeeDee Lamb, you're getting a little bit more value. I would probably, if I were picking, I would probably go with CeeDee Lamb under 5.5, but that's just me. Personally, I think both of those are pretty solid, but CeeDee Lamb definitely has more value than the Schultz under 3.5 does. Thinking Giants Bears parlay. So, like, what parlay of spread, over under, or money line? What would you be looking at there? We can take a look at that game if you want to see if there's any value. We can go ahead and search Bears. We'll see if there's anything out there. So it looks like there's quite a few player props. Fields over 7.5 rushing attempts, under 28.5 for the longest completion. Tell you what, I kind of like this one here. Herbert over 74.5 rushing yards. Looks like some pretty good value there. They've been using him pretty heavily too. Cole Kmet over 2.5 receptions. I'd say this Giants Bears game is probably going to be pretty low scoring, pretty ugly to watch. So any other questions, feel free to throw those in. Otherwise, I'm going to probably call this a day and head up and finish this Saints game and check out some afternoon NFL. So if you got any last minute questions, throw those in here. Taking a look at the ARB page again, Yankees Orioles could make some risk-free money here on the first half money line if you wanted to do that. So again, yeah, we'll take a look. One last look at the EV page with the recommended filters on. We'll see if there's anything that is out there. Yep, no problem at all. Yep, no problem. Happy to help, David. Any good 1 p.m. PrizePicks selections? Yeah, let's take a look. We'll see. We can do PrizePicks and see if there's anything, and then we will call it a day. So PrizePicks, you're looking for something in the 1 p.m. slate. Looks like Najee Harris over 2.5 catches, over 2.5 receptions has some value. Derrick Henry over 1.5 receptions has some value. Hawkinson in the 1 o'clock slate has some value as well, over 4.5 receptions. Pierce under 2.5 receptions does not have value unless you're building a 5 flex. So yeah, I mean, if you were going to do a three leg entry, I mean, maybe Harris over 2.5 receptions, definitely some value there. Henry over 1.5 receptions, some value there as well. And then Hawkinson over 4.5 receptions has some value. So you could, if you're going to do 2, you could just pick 2 of those, but all 3 of those certainly have value. So appreciate you guys tuning in. I may jump on here later this afternoon in between the later games and the 1 Eastern games. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and good luck with your bets today. I'll see you later.